The 2023 Drizzle season marks the 1-year anniversary for Splatoon 3, and we have finally been given the Gold Dynamo Roller, which was shown in the very first announcement trailer for the game all the way back in 2021. Yeah, it's been a long while. So was the Gold Dynamo Roller really worth all that wait? Let's talk about it. Starting with the Splat Bomb, this sub isn't supposed to be used the same way a Splattershot Jr. uses it. Because the Dynamo is very ink hungry and the Splat Bomb is 70% of your ink tank, most of the time you don't want to be using it in direct combat. But much more like kind of how the Range Blaster uses its Suction Bomb. It uses it to poke areas that it can't reach, which is more effective with a Splat Bomb on Dynamo, and you can use your bomb to help teammates while you yourself are not in a fight. Now, I would highly advise, if you're planning on learning to play this weapon, to unlearn throwing your sub-weapon at your feet and at walls every time you want to paint them. Because this Dynamo does not have Sprinkler. If you do end up actually trying to use Splat Bomb to paint your feet in a dire situation, well, you're probably going to get splatted faster than you can say Barnacle and Dime, which is pretty fast. Overall, while the Splat Bomb isn't the best sub for Dynamo, it still is a Splat Bomb and can do Splat Bomb things. You can't complain too much about it. Now for the special, it has Super Jump, which is alright on Dynamo. Super Jump is definitely one of the most middling specials in the entire game right now. It's not horrible, but it's not exactly meta-defining, if you get what I mean. While it does have some pretty useful strengths, it does have some weaknesses that make this special pretty ignorable too. Let's talk about it. To start, I think that Super Chump's biggest strength is the large amount of burst paints that the chumps output, and if they are ignored, they also paint even more when they explode. This is great for stalling out a splat zone, and at the very least, when placed correctly, make the enemy team have to deal with the chumps, which can be used as a distraction tool. The problem with chumps is that they can be dealt with very easily and quickly, which means that you need people to be using the paint, meat shields, and distractions that the chumps provide right when they land, otherwise, they're probably gonna do nothing. This is very good on something like the custom dually squelchers, which can use the chumps selfishly as a means to get behind the enemy with its high mobility. It's also good on something like the Inkline Tri-Stringer, and should already be very focused on what their teammates are doing with the main weapon, and so the special is good at supporting its teammates in fights. But the Dynamo? Well, it's not super great at going in with its chumps due to its slow speed, and while you can use the chumps for your team, why don't you just play the vanilla Dynamo if you want a special for you supporting your team? You can even be selfish with the vanilla Dynamo and go in with the cooler, and chumps are a lot more inconsistent in that regard. Now, don't get me wrong, the chumps aren't all bad. The near instant ink tank refill is really nice on Dynamo specifically, especially when stalling a zone. And the ink tank refill isn't the only thing nice about launching chumps on a zone. You also get the chumps. So theoretically, the Gold Dynamo can actually be pretty scary on splat zones. Except for the fact that I don't think Dynamo paints consistently enough for it to be actually scary, since you won't be able to pressure the zone as much as you could with a better painting weapon, and you won't be able to farm chumps as reliably. If Dynamo painted more, it might be a lot better, but otherwise, if you want this sort of spam paint at the zone, throw a special that refills your ink tank and also paints the zone, and then spam more paint at the zone, I'd advise you to play the Big Swig Roller Express. It's right there. So was the Gold Dynamo Roller worth the wait? Well, if you were looking for a more competitively viable kit over the vanilla one, I'm sorry, but this ain't it. Tactical is pretty good right now. And since the gold will use its kit more supportively anyway, I don't even think this kit offers a super different playstyle over the vanilla one, sadly. But is it fun though? Well, I am a big Super Chump fan and a Sprinkler hater, so I am a little biased, but wow, have I been enjoying this roller a lot more than the vanilla one so far. So for me, personally, it definitely was worth the wait, since I wasn't really a Dynamo main before this, but I can definitely see a lot of other Dynamo mains being disappointed with this weapon. So, if you have tried out this weapon at all this season, I would love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. My name is Calipman, and I will see you in the next one.